Hello, Hare Krishna. My name is Jvalamukhi Dasi, and I'm continuing the series The J Files, which is my video blog of the book I've written, My Hoo-Hoo and the Destiny of the Universe. I ended the last video with a description of my desire to perform huge Harinam Sankirtan all over the world, something I have been praying to see come to pass in my lifetime, where from all the auditoriums of all the worlds, people are just chanting and dancing and taking shelter of the Lord's holy name. And this is predicted and certainly will come to pass. So as I was doing my healing, visions were given to me of such and of my participation in such. And I was interrupted with the last video, so I wanted to continue with the rest of what transpired in that vision. So a lot of times after I would have a healing session, I would sit down and write, because the revelations and realizations and the memories were all coming so quickly, I wouldn't have had time to really process them. So part of my healing was to write and to sit down, and a lot of times it comes very quickly and I don't want to forget anything. So right after the work, I would sit down with a pen and paper and just free flow and be able to see it that way. So this next part is my writing after one of those sessions. I wanted to sit at the table and write about all this before I forgot anything. My mentor handed me a notebook and 2 pens. One pen was clear and blue, and the other one had red and white stripes at the end. Suddenly I felt repulsed. The image of the American flag came to me, and then, and then I saw, as I closed my eyes, I reeled with the force of the vision. My grandfather on my father's side used to be a Navy captain in charge of a large aircraft carrier ship. He actually participated in World War II and was awarded honors in that way. Skipping all of the gruesome details, I saw how he was introduced to the, quote, power rituals by his commanding officers. Hundreds of women and children who were supposed to have been given safe passage from Europe to the USA during World War II never made it. No one even knew they were missing. They were not supposed to be on that ship. They did not arrive at the shore. But the U.S. naval officers had their power ritual and one more initiate in their process, my granddaddy. When he came back from the war, he was a changed man. Everyone feared him, and for good reason. He was the citizen of the year in that town and honored by all. He trained his family well. Yes, they were, quote, powerful too. The pain of seeing what had happened to those women and children on that ship threatened to rip my heart in half. I told Kamra all that I saw. She wisely asked my inner self if this was important for my healing, to know all of this. No, it was not. One of the women in ghostly form, Nancy, she told me her name, pushed herself forward into my awareness. She began to show me what had happened to her and her precious tiny baby, Alexander. Their story wanted to unfold itself in the front of my consciousness, and it was too much for me. Kamra advised me to draw back and to give those 2 persons in ghostly form the only thing that could really help them now. Not the mediumship service they were asking of me to tell their 60 and 70-year-old story. How could that help anyone now? Just tell them, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And pray for their deliverance. What a humbling and empowering knowledge that I could beg and connect these 2 lost souls back to the Guru Parampara. How fortunate I am. How fortunate they will be. There was also one more element of great importance in that session that has left a lasting impression on me. Actually, before I go into that, I do want to say that everybody in the material world is looking for power. And in Kali Yuga, people worship Kali. And the process for worshiping Kali is hypocrisy. The age of quarrel and hypocrisy is full of cheaters and souls who want to stay here with demonic propensities. And so causing harm to others for pacifying the spirits, or this different agents of Kali, the Satans, as there are many Satans. Srila Prabhupada refers in one purport to many Satans, or powerful beings that feed on the pain of others, is something that people in government who crave power, they do that. So don't think that when you're fighting for some government that claims all sorts of high and mighty things, freedom, blah, 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 don't buy it. They're all just parasite entities selling you a bunch of bull. And behind it all is what really goes on there, just horrible exploitation and dark stuff. At the top anyways. I'm sure there's a lot of good people in between there, but Krishna was showing me things that I couldn't see with my two eyes, things that were in the so-called Akashic records, things that were important for my healing to know. And satanic ritual abuse is a multi-generational phenomena. And so to see how my grandfather was inducted into it through the military was a really important piece of the puzzle for me. And it explained a lot of things. And even though it was very painful and hard for me to see that, I could come into more acceptance of it in that way. So the Lord showed me a little piece and what he went through, and of course the disassociation and the response to that, and then how all of the dark stuff gets passed forward. So our service is to step out, to be the strongest link, or so-called or maybe the weakest link in the satanic chain, and just remove ourselves from Kali's grasp and the practices of Kali, which very sticky and entangling. So Srila Prabhupada has given us that process. Krishna is in the heart, and when you go in here in deep prayer, the whole universe exists because Krishna is in here. So yes. Yeah, and everybody wins in Krishna consciousness, very much so. The lost and forgotten ghostly beings who are stuck, and how most people can't perceive their cries and their needs. And through this work, I have found countless lost souls in that way come forward. And as you give them the holy name, their term of imprisonment in that subtle body is instantly ended by the power of the Lord's holy names. So I encourage all of you to keep chanting and praying, and there's actually more disembodied beings than there are embodied beings. So you could be doing a great service by chanting to all of the disembodied beings, like you would go down a walking street and be chanting to so many people on Harinam. So even you're alone in your own heart, there are so many coverings and subtle beings that are benefited by the chanting of the holy names and by your process of purification. And another super exciting thing, we just released a series of videos and presentations called Purify My Life. So this was an idea that my younger brother had, and just yesterday he finally released it after 15 months of not sleeping at night, staying up late, unbelievable highs and lows. We have come forward with a piece called Purify My Life, which is also part of our project, purelyprabhupada.com. And it is a way for people to have a temple online for anyone who wants to know what Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission was without the organizational malaise that has come over ISKCON. So you can go to purifymylife.com, and happy watching. Thank you. So continuing here with my piece. There was also one more element of great importance in this session that has left a lasting impression on me. I saw Archangel Michael. I told Kamra, he is beautiful, like someone you would want to marry. He has honey-colored brown hair, a tall build, and a beautiful body with full, rose-colored lips and a very straight nose. I could not see this with my physical eyes, but I could sense all of it. But I did see his wings. He told me, I am the keeper of those who pass through the dark. I protected your heart and soul. I've held on to that for many years, and I have truly experienced his protection, and I'm very, very grateful to him. I understood that even while my body and mind were being subjected to all of this torture and perversity, he covered my heart chakra so that my essence could not be tainted. I could feel that fact now, and I'm very, very grateful. All glories to Archangel Michael. What a beloved warrior of God. I pray to fight next to him and to truly be able to have his association. Gift number 8. Dominion over darkness and mastery over the forces of evil. What every little girl wants for Christmas. I was in boot camp and in the trenches of hell. At least I had a guide and a flashlight. 7/19/11. All evening I am fighting the anger and sadness. I am aware of my desire to not exist. I want to kill myself again and again. I do not want any part of this horrible, painful existence. I want to smash my head into something hard, run far, far away, and never come back. I want to scream until there are no vocal cords left. I am angry at Krishna. Why do I have to be here? I hate it. I want out now. I do not want to be here. I must have been a Nazi terrorist to deserve what I am remembering. All the pain and horror of my childhood. I am mad at God. He made the modes of nature that trap us. There is no way in hell I will ever be pure enough to get out of here. I have no love, just a very sore, tired heart that wants to leave, leave, leave. But I am trapped, trapped, trapped. It is hard to develop the required humility when I am so mad. Allowing myself to, quote, go there, exploring the blame that I felt. After all, Krishna is a big enough person to handle my outbursts, my healing process. Even though I can pitch a very mean fit, at the end, I crumble into a ball and sob his holy names, for I have nothing else. At one point, I disassociated completely and went on a world tour as someone called Athelia, an angel sent by the gods to forgive everyone and love despite it all. Well, F that. I used to daydream for hours on end as a kid. This was just one more daydream. I was avoiding my process on Kamra's table. She gently brought me back with the question, ask yourself, is this important or is it a distraction? Now I know on the level that I am controlling myself and refraining from doing all of the above mentioned things, that I am eternal and there is love. I am sure that there are some uninvited so-called guests who are also expressing themselves through my consciousness. Sometimes I wish I wasn't so self-controlled, that I did not have so much witness. It would feel good to go crazy sometimes and blame God, but sigh, ... Sadly, I know better. I know that I need to create, to write, to draw and paint. I am with my beautiful boys all day. They keep my mind off the stuff that is spilling out. But I also am not really present with them, not the way I want to be anyway. There's just too much, quote, stuff that needs processing. I feel like a bad mother, but what can I do? My last Wednesday session had a few main points to it. They were: the sperm donor known as my dad began the sexual abuse of his daughter, me, as an infant. She was calling for mommy milky, and crying. She could not understand why he was hurting her so much. Wasn't he supposed to love her? Didn't he know how much it hurt? And my cat Chester was not hit by a car. I was made to poison him, or at least made to believe that I had. They wanted me to kill that which I loved the most. I used to think I was going to be a veterinarian when I grew up. I was always rescuing little hurt critters and putting them back together. I would stop and study how animals were put together when I would see them squashed on the road. I was not at all squeamish. I caught garter snakes, frogs, crawdads, and hand-raised little chicks that fell out of their nests. I took pliers and pulled out porcupine needles embedded deeply in a dog's nose. Once I heard faint mewing coming from the bushes on the side of my grandmother's house. A startled feral cat darted away, and 2 tiny newborn kittens mussed their noses around in the dirt, looking for shelter and for food. One of them was covered in fly eggs. The other one's side was a gaping open wound with maggots crawling in and out of its body. I took the one that I thought I could save and raised him. My cousin took the other one. Later, he told me what he had done with it. Again, it is odd that I had no emotional reaction at all when he told me that he had beheaded the poor thing on a stump in the backyard. Again, is that normal for children to do such a thing? He was a young boy, and to do such a thing with a hatchet speaks of something off in the family. And also that I had zero emotional rise to it when he said it, that I was completely flatlined. That also speaks of something off. These were just markers that I was noting as things were coming up and for me. My cat Chester was about a year old when I came back from the hospital after my 2-week stay due to a ruptured appendix. I lay on the couch recovering from the ordeal. He kept me company, sleeping on my chest. When the neighbor told me to come outside and to look and see if it was my cat squished on the road, I did so. Just like any of the other roadkills I used to study anatomically, I observed his dead body. I peeled Chester's lifeless body off the asphalt, and I buried him. I did not cry. I did not feel anything. It never occurred to me that this was not normal. At least, not until now. My homework is to say affirmations on how much I love and cherish my uterus and my breasts. I was or am feeling so contaminated, hopelessly so. I wanted to burn my body to ashes just to purify it, and to throw away my womb and cut off my breasts. I hate this body. I didn't ask for it. I am trapped here. I don't want to be here. These feelings of hopelessness arose from being so small and being utterly exploited and uncared for. It sits in my body as bitter bile, undigested black sludge, more witch stuff, icky, sticky green bile. I got you, my pretty. That spirit left after a short while. Affirmations around that need also had to be said. Manifestation of all of my life's goals will surely follow. I was screaming and screaming for my mother, but I was told, she cannot hear you. She will never come. No one can hear you. You are all alone. No one loves you except me, some weird lizard man. The demons program their kids like this so that they become like them, hosts to the hordes of subtle entities that feed off negative emotions. Incredibly, they actually believe that they are doing them a favor somehow because God is a myth and one should not have faith in him. They are making their children strong by all these, quote, preparations. More anger and hurt and loneliness ensued. No one was there to protect me. No wonder I don't melt in affection when I am hugged, but rather disappear somewhere upwards or inwards, disassociate. I still can't share this with my siblings. I am endeavoring to be fair to them in my own process. I know that it is perfectly normal to doubt yourself and think yourself crazy. I do wonder, except for the fact that I have such fiercely strong emotions around the reliving of the events or memories, and I see their symptoms of repression as well. I heard a PhD in psychology say once that crazy people don't think that they're crazy. So it's a good sign. So it was a good sign that I was not crazy because I questioned my sanity. And then there was a list of events that, when placed in juxtaposition to the emerging memories, now all make so much sense. Damn. So many times I wished that I could just be wrong, that what was coming up and out of me would somehow just be illusions and delusions and insanity and craziness. But just the opposite was happening. As more and more memories surfaced, more and more pieces of my past started to make sense to me. And not only from my past, but from the world around me and the things that I observed that were out of place. And so just like the whole world right now is having a red pill awakening experience about the covert takeover of the earth by the demons, and they're slowly waking up. So I was having my awakening also about my own personal life, and just how much influence has been there by the demons on all levels. So yeah, a lot of times it's easier to just say, oh, those crazy conspiracy theorists, or I'm crazy, or they're crazy. But there's just too much that points to the ugly truth, which is a good thing because we can now do something about it instead of deny it. Another song I wrote, it is called Too Much in This World. I'm too much in this world today. I got to get out. I got to find a way, find a way. I'm too much in this world today. I got to get out. I got to find a way, find a way. I got to get out, got to get out. Got to get out, got to get out. I got to get out, got to get out. I just have to get out, got to get out. I'm too much in this world today. I got to get out. I have to find a way. Run, run, run away. Run, run, run away. Run, run, run away. Run, run, run away. I've seen the light before, and then I just wandered away, distracted by friends and family, love, life, society, and now I am covered, caught, bound up, and thrown down. Covered, caught, bound up, and thrown down. I'm too much in this world today. I've got to get out. I've got to find a way, find a way, find a way. I'm too much in this world today. Along this path of mine, there are realizations that come in waves, new ones, and the waves that I keep learning over and over again at different levels. I feel compelled to keep track of them because it is like a traveling log of sorts. The only real thing about this whole sacrifice in time are the lessons in love we learn along the way. Everything else is taken away by time. All the names, the faces, the families, the stories, the ambitions, all is reset with death and a new body. All that remains is the karma to fuel another round of personalized lessons in love, delivered by the hand of an all-loving God. Will you learn this time, my dear child? Will you? Will you come home to me this time, my child? I want to give you myself. Will you? Will you come home? I was reading a watercolor magazine, and something about how to paint jumped out at me. It was this, that the contrasts between light and dark make for a dramatic scene. Now, who is the supreme actor? Who is Rasaraj? And isn't love the most sought after subject in all stories and in life? So why am I lamenting that I passed through horrible darkness? Isn't it so that I could glory in the beauty of the contrast of light? Srimati Radharani is the supreme goddess and my real mother. I trust her, although I feel very unqualified and dirty in her presence. I do not feel protection and safety in the arms of my body's mother or father. Srimati Radharani. Oh, excuse me. I do not feel safe in the arms of this body's mother. She is another fallible soldier in the material world and wounded at that. So seeing Srimati Radharani's beauty today on the altar and remembering her motherly presence in the Detroit temple, I called out to her as best I could. Oh, Mother Hara, I am dirty like a soiled, smelly child. I have no other shelter than you. You are my maintainer and the most compassionate. Who else other than you can clear my filthy, envious, stool-filled heart? I am not ashamed to ask this of you because, after all, I am yours and you are mine. A mother does not consider the state of the soiled child, but unconditionally picks the child up and comforts them. Please, therefore, now that I am taking full shelter of you and your internal energy, give me protection. O Mother Hara, I am done with the chastisements of you in your form as the material nature, Mother Kali, who needs to whip her rascal children to get them to go home. Both the pain and the embrace are your loving arms. I accept all that has been done, all that I have passed through, and in humility, I beg forgiveness for ever leaving you. Please don't let me forget and leave again. Time is short, and I want so badly to be of service, to have some desire to chant your holy names in real sincerity. When will I be humble, seeing myself as I am, and in this way, never find fault with others, but being afraid of offending them, serve them in gratitude, seeing them as yours, the spirit soul, despite their actions. Please, Mother Hara, purify my heart in the most gentle and thorough way, so that I may bring some small pleasure to your husband, Sri Hari. Funny, I feel more private about writing these words down in my heart's prayer than describing all of the horrible things that I experienced. I will end there. Thank you so much for your attention. Hare Krishna.